Yeah, so I started my career as an attorney. I went to law school, became a practicing lawyer. That was great. That was something I got a lot out of, but I wanted to do something different, and I didn't see that as being the long-term fit for me. So I was lucky to have the opportunity to be on the founding team at a platform called Say that was a reg tech focused on serving financial services firms in different compliance and also brand workflows. Interesting business, won't go into the details. Grew very quickly, and that was a great success story. It was acquired by Robinhood, and then I co-founded a company after that that was an AI company focused on AI and machine learning for financial services data workflows. And then Norm. So yeah, lawyer, and then a background in AI and software. So I guess a little unique, but maybe not completely, because at Norm we have a lot of people like me who are attorneys that are now focused completely on AI and building with the AI technologies that we deploy at Norm for our clients. Yeah, so we build and deploy AI agents that are focused on certain kinds of standards-based reasoning tasks. So like legal, regulatory interpretation, policy interpretation, brand manuals, compliance manuals. The attorneys build them. They're called legal engineers. We train them how to do this. They use a platform we've built for this purpose, and then they deploy them into workflows at our clients, which are financial services firms and insurance companies, in order to increase efficiency, reduce risk, deliver different kinds of strategic outcomes. And we work with large financial services firms and insurance companies primarily. Our client base is responsible for 30 trillion in assets under management across all of it. So some very, very large and significant firms in there. And that's what we do. We partner with them really strategically in these legal, compliance, and then business and operational workflows. When I started to work in AI, the technology was not what it is today. And it, to me, just felt like something that had a lot of room to grow, but was already incredibly powerful and doing things that I couldn't believe. I mean, the first few times I ever saw an AI demo of any kind, and these are things that we would not think are interesting at all today, but the first few times I saw them, I couldn't believe it. And that was, again, with a much simpler sort of version of what we now know or consider or think of as AI. So I guess it was seeing it and having the opportunity and the luck to be around people who were working on it and who, wanted to work with me as well. And that's how I got into it, and just a belief in that it was going to be a very transformative technology, which it is and is continuing to be. There's a lot you can do with the technology, and on some level you can kind of basically do anything these days. I don't know if overrated is exactly the right term, but it's probably not ideal to just approach it exclusively from a totally general purpose, one size fits all standpoint. Now, I'm not going to say that that's overrated. I think that there's a lot of room for that. But I think what's underrated is going really deep on a very specific kind of problem and a really specific kind of workflow to deliver some kind of outcome in, let's say, a legal or compliance workflow or a marketing workflow with a compliance nexus. I think that's underrated, like really obsessively focusing on a very specific use case. So there are very broad platforms out there and then more focused vertical platforms. We're very focused. The AI systems are built by legal engineers or built by attorneys that we train to use AI. So I didn't answer your overrated question entirely. I kind of what's underrated, but I would say that I'm a huge believer. I mean, I think it's going to, and already is, completely change the world. I believe that, it's going to unlock huge advances in, first of all, fields that are just critical to the future of humanity. I mean, biology and science, material science, things that we need to develop technologies that will sustain the future for us. And it's very important as a result that we invest super heavily in it and use it a lot, because that's how we can contribute to it pushing the boundaries and getting to where we can all see it going. So yeah, big believer. It can't do everything, but it can do a lot. And I really think we're still just at the very, very, very early stages of the story. Yeah, I mean, AI is being used or being leveraged increasingly in situations that were really just the domain of people, totally, only interactions that were human to human exclusively. And now you might have a human and an AI interacting, or even two AIs interacting on behalf of a human. And in those contexts, especially if you're deploying that sort of thing into a regulated environment in financial services, for example, you need to make sure that the AI systems are obviously not doing sort of harmful things in the traditional sense, but they're also aligned with our laws and regulations and policies that govern our society. That's super important as well. So if you want to have trust in AI, you also have to make sure that AI is, to the extent it's operating in a human domain or in a human manner, which it is, and that's one of the great things that technology can do. To the extent that it's doing it, it's aligning with the framework that our society has created to govern itself: laws, regulations, policies, those kinds of things. That's our focus at Norm, is getting that right. And we think that we can really help push AI adoption at scale by being a part of that story broadly, with these AI systems that we build, which are focused on these kinds of legal and regulatory and standards-based interpretation tasks. Well, they're really important. I mean, so we build AI systems that are very sophisticated and really very unique. And the only way we can create them is by seeking out highly specialized, very specific kinds of people with really, really specific backgrounds. That is how our business, that's the lifeblood of it. These people that can interface with our clients, build the system, yes, to scale up the human intelligence that the system encodes and the standards that the system encodes. But for us, I mean, just from first principles, we can't do what we do without people. And I think that of course, things will change, and there will be, a lot of evolution in what a job might look like today, tomorrow, and in the future. But there's always going to be a critical need for especially expert people doing expert things in the knowledge work kind of space. I think in the world of moving things and physical things and stuff like that, it's a different story entirely. And there's probably less room for AI to participate in some of those tasks in the near term. But yeah, I mean, I think people are really important.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's incredibly accessible now, so anyone can use it, and you really don't have any reason not to. So you can use it, you can make it a part of your day-to-day, you can build with it, you can understand how it works, you can adopt it in different ways. So you got to start with that. And I think it's also important to want to have maybe a little bit more of a point of view as to what kind of AI career you would want, because there's so much you can do in it now. So you can be an AI builder, you can be a person working at an AI company in a sort of not technical role where you're sort of just supporting the mission of the company. You can work in different vertical domains. So I think kind of understanding and forming a point of view on what you want to do is also important. And so getting exposure to the technology and kind of having a thesis for how you want to be a part of what's happening in AI. So I think the biggest competitors for us would be service providers that provide this kind of knowledge work with people today, right? And that is I would say the main place where we would see head-to-head competition. Well, because you can infinitely scale the specialized knowledge at a far higher standard using our technology. So you can take the work and the ability to reason on something and lever that up basically times infinity, and still get the same kind of output, the same sort of reasoning work product. It's what we do, having lawyers build the AI systems that are very focused and specific. Yeah, we're the only company that does that.